intro. Need an intro. Hi guys! Alright, so we are back with my Dangerous Flowers series, today inspired by the Gloriosa family of flowers, commonly called fire lilies. Today I was definitely inspired by the color theory, or color story, of the Gloriosa Superba and the Gloriosa Carsonii. So, brighter pink and a darker pink, basically, with the fire lining. That's about all I have to say on it. They're both poisonous if ingested, so that's what makes them dangerous, obviously. And plus they're called fire lilies. Fire's pretty dangerous, I think. But yeah, if you guys want to see how I achieved this look, keep on watching. Alright, so to start this look off, I already have my foundation on. I'm wearing the MAC Pro Longwear Concealer and Foundation in NC42, and then I just set that with the MAC Select Sheer Powder in NC40. So, now let's get the eyes started. Oh, and the eyes are primed with Lay and Low Paint Pot from MAC as well. So to start, I'm just going to take, like I did one of my other videos, the MAC Pro Longwear Jumbo Eye Crayons. Again, you could use like the NYX Jumbo pencils, and Sephora does have their shadow sticks as well that would work for this. So we're just going to take this and put that on the lid so the pigments in these shadows pop just a little bit more. Just kind of creating that nice dome shape. And then just blend the edges. The great thing about doing makeup with contacts in is that every time you fiddle around with your eyeball, your contact shifts. And like always with me, it doesn't have to be perfect because we're just going to blend it out anyway, so sorry about it. I had a client once who was a stickler for having the look pretty the entire time I was applying, and she's like, it just doesn't look like this when other artists do it. And I'm like, yeah, well, other artists take 2 hours to get an eye done. I'll get you out of here in 45 minutes. So do you want to just be sitting down doing nothing, or do you want to be out and about having fun faster? Okay. So for this, I'm just using what I have. So I'm going to be using the MAC Flamingo Park x9 palette, which was a collection only from spring a few years ago. I don't remember if this one had special packaging or not, but I got this in gratis from when I worked for MAC, so there's that. I'm going to be taking the two pink shades in the middle row here. So if you have this palette, it's Sushi Flower and Bird's Eye View. Sushi Flower is, to my knowledge, I'm busy, a permanent shade from MAC. But the Bird's Eye View is not. So I'm just going to mix those two together. If you have like the James Charles palette or maybe Jaclyn Hill, I know both of those palettes have some pinks. So it's just like a muted soft pink and a more vibrant, slightly deeper pink. So I'm just going to sandwich those two together on my brush, and we're just going to press that all over the lid. Leaving about a third on the outer corner. Like that. This look is pretty simple, but the end result, I think, is really, really pretty. And definitely a little more striking than some of the looks I've done on this channel so far. Definitely a little more like Instagram worthy, maybe. I have brush hairs on my face and none of you thought to tell me or say anything. I thought we were friends. So now I'm going to come into this Violet Voss Fruit Sorbet palette I just picked up at Sephora recently. Small, travel, like easy to travel with, and much more affordable than some of her other palettes. So I'm actually just going to take this darker maroon color in the center of the bottom row, and that's going to fill in that outer third. We're just really packing that on. When it first goes on, it's a little lighter than it looks in the pan, but if you really build it up, you get that nice deep shade. Okay, so it just fills in that gap there. And just press it over the other two colors. Okay. So now with that same palette, I'm just going to mix this lighter pink and this kind of pinky orange. It's like just barely a pinky orange, but I'm just going to mix a little bit of those two together, and that's just going to go through my crease. So I'm starting with the pink, so I have more of that on my brush, and then just a little bit of the orange. And that's just going to soften the edges. While keeping the color story. And we're just going to do the same thing on the other eye, as a normal person would. Okay. As I was saying before I was so rudely interrupted by my camera, the orange is nice because it keeps the color story, and even though the color story was inspired by two very specific species of the flower, there are some that have more orange in their blossoms. And then I'm just going to highlight my brow with that nude from the Violet Voss. It actually looks like it has a little bit of pink to it, which is nice. This is also kind of a first impressions because honestly I just swatched this palette in store and hadn't used it until this video. So I'm actually really liking it. I picked up another little palette that you'll see later in another video. So I'm just going to take a big fluffy Morphe brush and kind of knock some of the excess of that light color away because it is quite bright. And this is also going to do a little more blending for me. But I also picked up another small palette when I was at Sephora from another highly rated brand. But this one, this particular brand doesn't like men in makeup. But I'd like to see her stop me. And I know that a lot of people are boycotting that, especially the men in makeup on YouTube. Because, like, you know, I get it. But the product is great, and honestly, in my opinion, if she doesn't like men in makeup, she's really not going to like this flamboyant little queen wearing her products. So, I have another brush hair on my face. You guys are just really letting me look a fool, aren't you? Alright, so that's that for that. Now we're going to get to the fun part of this look. So I'm going to take the Jeffree Star Drug Lord lipstick. I'm going to use that as a liner. I always like to shake up my liquid lips, and I know that Jeffree does say to do that with his, but I do that with pretty much any formula. So I'm just going to take my little metal Petri dish. I used this for my foundation earlier. And I'm just going to put a little of this on that. So we're just going to scrape some off. Definitely going to need a lot more than that. And I'm going to start lining my eyes. So I'm going to use my trusty NARS angled brush. You guys have seen this plenty by now on my channel. Definitely one of my favorite brushes. And I'm just going to line my eyes. Liner is one thing you guys will see me take my time on, but we're just kind of creating a base for the next color to stick to. I'm just building up the white pigment so that the color that I'm going to lay down has a lot more, has a better chance of actually like looking really vibrant. And yes, I know I look insane. The look isn't done yet. And I try to be as symmetrical as I can, but it's winged liner. I'm just going to take my Select Sheer powder that I used to set my face with a smudger brush. This is the 214 from MAC. And we're just going to like pack that in along the edges of the white. Just going to clean up the shape. Easy. So now I'm going to take my Morphe JS7 and the Violet Voss palette. Again, I'm going to actually use the yellow and the orange that's right next to it. More of the yellow than the orange, and just press that over the white. The Jeffree Star lipsticks I find are a really good base for this too, because they have a little bit of stick to them. So it's going to really grab your shadows or your pigments so that they really pop against the more vibrant colors. It's looking really good. Other eye lined. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a little bit of a frost highlight under my brow. Okay. So I'm just going to take my Model's Own palette that I'm really loving for highlight, and I'm just going to take Sugar Coat, which is that more golden shade in the center, and we're just going to use that up under my brow. Just gives me a little bit of a frost. And then this is actually something that one of my managers used to do at MAC, and I really, really liked it, and I thought it would work really well for this look, given the way that the flower looks, is she would take her eyeliner when she was wearing like really bold, beautiful colors, and she would actually place a really thin line of it right up under her brow, which was really, really cool to me. So like if she was wearing like a bright purple or like blue, she would use the MAC Chroma lines a lot, which are basically kind of like their, really similar to their fluid line eyeliners, but they made them in a lot more colors, and I think they were in a bigger pot, and they're waterproof. The fluid lines are water resistant, not waterproof. So I'm just going to take this little crap angled brush, honestly, and do a little thin line of the Drug Lord up under my brow. From the beginning of the arch out to the tail. And then we're going to use our Jeffree JS7 and kind of do the same thing that we did with the liner and just set the Drug Lord with that. And I think for this I'm going to use just the yellow. So that it's nice and bright. And I had just a tiny bit of the orange on my brush from before, so we're just going to even that out. It was really minimal. Alright, so I think I'm gonna go ahead and do my finishing touches off camera, so my bronzer, lashes, and brows, and I will be right back with some hair on and show you guys the finished look. I'll be right back. Alright, so I am done. I used the Ardell Wispy Lashes, I think, in 120. They're just really long and I really like them. I did my brows with my Volux Brow Pencil from MAC because I wanted to go a little bit darker with my brow this time. And then Sun Power Bronzer from MAC, which I might have gone a little bit overboard with. Definitely in the hairline, but it's fine. I went over it with my powder. And then my highlight is the Oh Darling Extra Dimension highlighter from MAC, which I did definitely go overboard with, but I like a lot of highlight. Quote John McClane, I like to glow greater than the gods. So, sue me. Call a lawyer. I have one. Anyway, I went back with the red wig because I really liked how it looked on camera last time. But this is the completed look. I'm happy with it. If you enjoyed this tutorial, please give me a like and a subscribe, join my family, and see me on the next one. Peace.